The Ant and the Grasshopper. Once upon a time, in a lush green meadow, there lived a grasshopper who loved to sing and play his violin. Every day, he would hop around, chirping and making music, enjoying the warmth of the sun and the beauty of the flowers. The grasshopper was carefree and happy, living in the moment without a worry about the future. One bright summer day, as the grasshopper was playing his violin, he noticed an ant passing by, carrying a heavy piece of corn. The ant was sweating and looked exhausted, but he continued to march steadily towards his ant hill. The grasshopper, curious and a bit amused, called out to the ant, "Hey there, ant! Why are you working so hard on such a beautiful day? Come and join me. Let's sing and dance together," the grasshopper said, strumming his violin. The ant paused for a moment, wiped the sweat from his brow, and replied, "I can't, grasshopper. I need to gather food for the winter. If I don't work now, I won't have anything to eat when the cold weather comes." The grasshopper laughed and said, "Winter is far away. There's plenty of food now. Why worry about tomorrow when you can enjoy today?" The ant shook his head and continued on his way, determined to finish his task. The grasshopper shrugged and went back to his music, thinking that the ant was missing out on all the fun. Days turned into weeks, and the grasshopper continued to play and sing, while the ant and his fellow ants worked tirelessly, gathering food and storing it in their ant hill. The grasshopper often saw the ants carrying heavy loads and felt a pang of pity for them, but he quickly dismissed it, believing that they were overworking themselves for no reason. As summer began to fade and the days grew shorter, the grasshopper noticed a change in the air. The warm breeze turned chilly, and the leaves on the trees started to change color. One day, as he was playing his violin, he saw the ant again, this time carrying a piece of a potato. "Ant, why don't you take a break? You've been working all summer. Come and enjoy the last days of warmth with me," the grasshopper suggested. The ant, looking even more tired than before, replied, "I can't, grasshopper. Winter is almost here, and I need to make sure we have enough food to last through the cold months." The grasshopper sighed and said, "You worry too much, ant. There's still plenty of food around. Why not relax and have some fun?" But the ant, knowing the importance of preparation, continued on his way, leaving the grasshopper to his music. Soon, the first frost arrived, and the meadow was covered in a blanket of white. The grasshopper, who had never experienced a harsh winter before, was taken by surprise. The flowers and grass he relied on for food were gone, and the cold wind made it difficult for him to play his violin. He wandered through the meadow, shivering and hungry, searching for something to eat. One day, as he was stumbling through the snow, he came across the ant hill. Desperate and weak, he knocked on the door and called out, "Hello? Is anyone there?" After a moment, the ant appeared at the entrance, looking warm and well-fed. "What do you want, grasshopper?" the ant asked. "I'm starving, ant. I didn't gather any food for the winter, and now I have nothing to eat. Can you spare some food for me?" the grasshopper pleaded. The ant looked at the grasshopper with a mixture of pity and frustration. "Grasshopper, I warned you about this. While you were singing and playing, we were working hard to prepare for the winter. We only have enough food for ourselves. I'm sorry, but we can't help you. The grasshopper, realizing the gravity of his situation, felt a deep sense of regret. He had wasted the summer, thinking only of the present and ignoring the future. Now, he was paying the price for his lack of foresight. With a heavy heart, the grasshopper turned away from the anthill and wandered back into the cold, snowy meadow. He found a small hollow in a tree and huddled inside, trying to keep warm. As the days passed, he grew weaker and weaker, his once vibrant music silenced by the harsh reality of winter. The ants, safe and warm in their anthill, continued to go about their daily tasks, grateful for the food they had gathered during the summer. They occasionally thought of the grasshopper and hoped that he had learned a valuable lesson. As the winter dragged on, the grasshopper's thoughts turned inward. He reflected on his choices and realized that he had been foolish to ignore the ants' warnings. He understood now that there was a time for work and a time for play, and that balance was essential for survival. When spring finally arrived, the meadow began to thaw, a new life emerged from the ground. The grasshopper, weak but alive, crawled out of his hollow and looked around. He saw the ants busily working, preparing for the new season, and felt a renewed sense of purpose. Determined to change his ways, the grasshopper approached the ant and said, "Ant, I have learned my lesson. I want to help you gather food and prepare for the future. Will you teach me how to work as hard as you do?" The ant, seeing the sincerity in the grasshopper's eyes, nodded and said, "Of course, grasshopper. It's never too late to learn. Together, we can ensure that we are both prepared for whatever the future holds." And so, the grasshopper joined the ants in their work, learning the value of hard work and preparation. He still played his violin, but now he balanced his music with his responsibilities. The ants welcomed him into their community, and together they thrived, knowing that they could rely on each other in times of need. From that day forward, the grasshopper and the ants lived in harmony, each understanding the importance of both work and play. The grasshopper's music filled the meadow once more, but now it was accompanied by the steady hum of the ants' industrious efforts. They had found a balance that allowed them to enjoy the present while preparing for the future, and they were all the better for it. The end.